Well, it looks like we finally have our soundboard working back again. This is good. I like this. Okay, seems to be working pretty well. Excellent. Okay, so I'm very excited to have our soundboard back. As many of you may know, our last interview, we didn't have our soundboard, and it was really weird doing an intro with no music and all of that. That was really, really strange. But it's good to be back. It's good to have the soundboard working again. We still have lots of issues with it, actually. We still need to get another computer in order to allow the memory to work with this soundboard and all of that stuff. So it's got some weird issues going on, but for today, it's working good. And I want to thank you for joining us on another edition, or episode, I should say, of Extreme Health Radio. This is going to be episode, what is it? What episode is this? 63 already. Man, oh man. So you can find it at extremehealthradio.com/63, and you'll find any of the reference materials that I mentioned on the show on that page in time. And got a lot to get to today, so this will be a good show. And for reference, this is Friday. Happy Friday, everybody. I hope you're having a good day out there. February 13th. Wait, is that right? February 13th? No, I'm sorry. It's February 15th, 2012. The day after Valentine's Day. I hope you all had a good Valentine's Day. And if you want to follow us on Facebook, please feel free to do that. extremehealthradio.com/Facebook. We'd love to have you join our community there. We post a couple times a day with our shows and get some good conversations going. So please join us on there. We'd love that. And we do shows, let's see, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, usually a weekend show at some point. But today we're actually supposed to be interviewing Stephen Huer of Synergistic Nutrition. He's a great guy. He's a really, really great guy. But unfortunately, he didn't book our interview, and I forgot to send him the reminder. Man, I should have done that. Forgot to send him the reminder of the interview that was going to happen at 9 o'clock this morning. So he planned a trip out to Colorado and is not going to be able to do the interview. So that's a bummer, but we don't want to attach ourselves. People make mistakes, and it's no big deal. So we'll plod on. We'll plow on and do the show here on this is a free-for-all Friday show, and we're going to reschedule Stephen here. He's a really great guy. He's doing the Synergistic Nutrition, the One World Whey, and it's a raw, grass-fed whey protein powder. And to my knowledge, it's the only one of its kind in the industry. And he gets his whey from cows that are cared for by Amish farmers. Can you believe that? Amish farmers. They have this strict code where they won't even talk to him. They won't even speak with him due to some religious, I'm not sure what is going on there, but he has to deal with their people. And so it's really, really, really a great product. So we're excited to talk with him. And I want to let you know this show is brought to you by Amazon.com. If you ever purchase on Amazon, would you consider buying through our link, and we'll get commission for your order? That's a great way to support us, because a lot of people don't have a lot of money, but yet they buy on Amazon, and that would be a great way to support us. We would be so appreciative. If you go to our site, you'll see the links on the right and at the very bottom of any web page. But if you want to just go to extremehealthradio.com/Amazon, that'll just redirect you to Amazon.com, and you can make a purchase, and we'll get, I don't know, it's 4 or 5% of every order that you make. So that would help. Even if it's just a small purchase, we would greatly appreciate that. So consider doing that. And I want to thank Mike Adams for having us on his network. Great guy. And his network is, what is it? naturalnewsradio.com. So yeah, that's really fun to be on there and working with the good people over there. It's really fun. So I wanted to also say that I don't know where you are and what time of year you're listening to this. You could be listening, 5 years in the future from now. But man, February 15th in Southern California, it's like 78 degrees. My wife and I just got back from walking our dog down at the beach, and we're going to take a long beach walk today. It's going to be so good. It feels so good to get that vitamin D, doesn't it, on your skin in the wintertime? I feel like, I don't know, many times my wife and I would go to Australia during the winter because I have family down there. And we go down there usually around January 20th or so, in the mid-January, and stay for 3 or 4 weeks. And catch Australia Day, which I think is the 20th or 26th of January. and just spend time with family and go to the beach and enjoy summer right in the middle of our winter. That's always so much fun. And they live on a little plot of paradise near Manly Beach. I don't know if you know, it sounds funny, Manly, but it's one beach over from Manly Beach in a place called Harbord, or they call it Freshwater, and it's right near Sydney. It's about an hour from Sydney. And oh my gosh, I'm so thankful to have family over there because they live a couple blocks from the beach, and we just stay there and walk to the beach all day. And oh man, it's paradise. It's making me want to go back there, actually. I'm really missing that place. I feel like Australia is a home away from home for me. I've been going there for years and years. I have memories as a kid there. No Australian accent, unfortunately. That would have been pretty cool, but that's okay. It's really a fun place, and I had a lot of good times. I went there in 2000. I took a year-long trip, and I traveled around the world. And in 2001, and right after 9/11, actually, it was about 2 months after 9/11, I went, 9/11 happened, and then a month before, in August, I took a train around the United States to go travel around and check out the United States, and did the whole Amtrak thing. That was pretty cool. And stayed at a bunch of people's places and just took a train all around the U.S. I went to the Grand Canyon and visited a bunch of cool places in New Mexico, Texas. Then I went to Florida. I went down to see the Coral Castle and spent some time in Miami Beach. Then up to New York. It was interesting. When I was in New York, I was visiting my brother's wife's family because they lived in New Jersey. And it was so funny. Well, it wasn't really funny, but it was interesting because I was there, and my brother's father-in-law was giving me a tour of New York, and he said to me, "Do you want to go up and see the Twin Towers?" And this was like August, right before 9/11. And I said to him, "No way, I'm not going up there. People bomb those buildings. I'm not going up in those buildings. Are you crazy?" And it was so crazy. 3 weeks later, 9/11 happened, and oh man, that was, so I always give him a hard time of trying to kill me out there and trying to put me to death. But that was fun. So then I went on this trip around the world, and I spent some time in Australia. I went to, let's see, where did I go first? I went to Fiji. That was really great. Then I went to Tonga in the South Pacific and spent about a month in Tonga and had the best time surfing and doing all these great things. This was before I knew anything about diet, so I wasn't really health-minded. I was fitness-minded. I did a lot of working out, but I didn't really control my diet at that time. And so I went to Tonga, did some surfing, and then I went to New Zealand, and I stayed there for about a month and traveled all around the North Island. Did some hiking up to some 10,000-foot mountain, Mount Maunganui, I think it's called. Or no, Taranaki. Mount Taranaki. And climbed that mountain and milked cows, and it was awesome. And then I went to Australia and traveled up and down the coast, and I flew into Sydney. Then I flew up to Cairns by myself and stayed in a youth hostel and met a bunch of people, and took a bus. There's these little buses you can charter and take down the coast, and that's about 36 hours drive time from Cairns, I believe, down to Sydney. And I stopped at all the beaches and surfed, and man, that was a fun trip. And then I went to South Africa and went to Cape Town and Durban and did that whole thing and went surfing there. And from there, I flew up to, actually, I went to J Bay and surfed J Bay in South Africa. And that was the most amazing surfing I've ever had in my whole life. Unbelievable. I'm a goofy foot, so that means my right foot is forward. And so I was going right the whole time. But oh man, that was a time of my life in South Africa. Fun time. And then I went to Greece and to the Greek islands and did all of that. I went to Santorini and Mykonos and Rhodes and all these amazing places. And then I went to, where did I go from there? Italy. And then I went to France and Spain. And then I flew to Brazil. Spent a month in Brazil and had the most amazing time. Went to Natal, and actually should have, had I known about Dr. Circus at that time, I would have visited Dr. Circus in Brazil. That would have been fun. And had a friend there in Brazil, and then she showed me around everywhere, and then that was really, really fun. And then from there, I actually got robbed on the beach in Rio de Janeiro at night at knife point, and that was quite a interesting situation. So the girl I was with were walking on the beach at night, and these, a bunch of 15-year-old kids walked by us and asked the time, and she gave them the time in English, and that's when they knew that we were. Well, she was Portuguese, but she spoke perfect English, so they thought we were tourists, and so they came back with a bunch of knives, ran up from behind, and did that, and then we made it through that. They only took her purse and her wallet and my wallet, and that was about it. So luckily, nothing happened there, and then I went to Jamaica and had a great time there, other than the fact that we got robbed. My friend and I got robbed in Jamaica. That was quite a story. I'll have to share that in another episode. Anyway, I don't know why I'm telling you all this stuff, but that was fun. So why did I tell you about Australia? Maybe because of the weather today here in Southern California? I'm not sure. Anyway, if you ever want to email me, please do so, justin@extremehealthradio.com. Or you can call my number too, our hotline. It's 949-391-7363, and I will play your message to our guest, or I will answer your question and play it on the show at any point. But I hope you guys all had a really great holiday, a really great Valentine's Day. It was funny. My wife and I both got each other the exact same thing, unbeknownst to each other. It was funny. We just got each other, or I got her a rose and a card, and we spent some time together, and I got her a box of the raw chocolates. I think it's by Chocolatiel. I think that's how you pronounce it, but it looks like a little pyramid box, and it was so good. That stuff, it's a raw cacao, mint flavor, barely sweetened, and it tastes amazing. And she got me a box, I got her a box. It was pretty funny, so we pigged out on chocolate. Hopefully you had a good Valentine's Day with the one you love, or if you're by yourself, you just spent some time with yourself and really had a good day. So hopefully you had a good day. And, it's been really fun doing these shows. I'm really excited about it. And Kate and I talk about it all the time, how excited we are for the future and how many people we can help, and hopefully how many people we can influence, and how fun it is to do the shows. And we've been getting such great feedback from people. It's interesting. There's lots of debates going on YouTube from the Sally Fallon video. People are going back and forth debating each other about whether or not it's okay to be vegetarian or if you should eat meat. And I've been just getting such great feedback from you guys, and that's been really great. I love getting your feedback and encouragement, because sometimes you wonder if you have what it takes to do radio show interviews, to be a radio show host, or do I have what it takes to really impact people's lives and that kind of thing. And you start doubting yourself. And then when I get your emails that are so supportive and talking about how our show has impacted you, it's just a good reminder to keep going and to keep putting out really great interviews and keep doing this work, because I'm so glad it's affecting people, and I'm so glad that people are getting good information out of it and learning things and being motivated and all of that stuff. So, it feels really good. And Kate and I are really excited too. We're going to get another microphone here. We've been doing kind of like a little fundraiser. I put an ad on it on our website. We're doing a little fundraiser to raise money for some new equipment that we need. We need to get another microphone. I've talked about this in a previous episode, but we're going to get another microphone so we can do in-studio interviews if that's ever possible with local guests, and also want to have Kate on our Free For All Friday shows. And so, we need to get another microphone, as well as a piece of hardware that will allow us to record phone calls. So that's about $480. The microphone's about $650, I think, something like that. And then the computer itself, we're having real issues. The computer I'm using is about, I think it's 7 years old now. So in the computer world where technology doubles every 6 months, that's pretty old. So we're looking to upgrade some things here to produce better shows for you guys. And so we're really excited. I can't wait to get Kate on the microphone on Fridays and being a part of possibly the interviews as well. That would be really cool. And, just getting your feedback and impacting you guys in a positive way has been such a great thing. And, for the longest time, I didn't know what I wanted to do in terms of my role in the health community because, I dabbled with a few different things. I had a raw food store for a while, and that was getting really, really difficult to manage and hard to make a profit doing that. And so we gave that up and sold that business. And then I had, I had some options. I could go out and do seminars, not seminars, but I can go speak and give presentations at people's houses and things like that about raw food. But my gift and my forte is not really public speaking. This is hard enough for me, but hopefully I'm getting better at this. At least it's just me and in our studio here. But giving a public presentation is, a lot more stressful for me. So I realized that wasn't my thing. And then I thought, what I could be like a nutritionist. I could go get my degree and I could spend, 4 years and go to a naturopathic college and then, help people one-on-one. But then I thought, if I did that, I would have to go to 4 years of school before I would be able to make any money and be able to support, my wife and I here. And then if I did that, it would take 4 years, to get. And then on top of that, I would just feel really stressed about helping people because if someone came in with, late stage cancer or something and, I didn't give them the right protocol and they died, I would take that on, So I didn't want to do that. And I figured out, what could I do? What could I do where I didn't have to get a degree? I didn't have to be a 100% businessman where I have to, have a store and that kind of thing. And I thought, what? I should interview people because I love what I do. I don't have to be an expert. And I love learning about this kind of stuff. And I could just ask questions and hopefully interact with you. And so that's really what's been so much fun for us to finally settle into what our role is in this community. And I hope that in the same way you're able to find what your role is too, whatever you're doing professionally. So I hope that our website is benefiting you, and I hope that it's helping you in some way. And judging by the feedback that you've sent, I've been so excited about it. So thank you so, so much. So this morning I made this green smoothie that was so good. I just want to tell you a little bit about how I make it, and maybe it'll help you. I'm not sure, but so what I normally do is I usually have a few coconuts on hand where I'll buy 5 or 6 coconuts and then I'll crack them open, strain out the pulp and pour it into a glass container and put that in the fridge. And I also usually have some kombucha on hand that I make once a month. And then what else do I have on hand? Usually some herbal teas. So I'll have some herbal teas on hand, like a reishi goji berry or something like that. And I'll make that up in the big teapot and have that in glass jars in the fridge too. So I'll take a third of each one of those things and put it into my Vitamix. And so when I do that, and then I'll put in a ton of lettuce leaves and blend that all up. So it blends up and it grinds up the lettuce leaves and the Vitamix into a nice mixture. And then once that's there, I'll put in all my superfood powders. So I'll do some of the sacred clays, the high silica clays from Vitality Herbs and Clay that we have. If you go down to the bottom of any one of our shows, you'll see a link for Vitality Herbs and Clays. And Michael King's got some great products. I use his greens mix and his fulvic acid and his other ancient earth minerals and clays, and I put all that in there. It's just, it's so good. And then I'll put in some protein powder like the Sun Warrior or the One World Whey, and I'll put in some kind of protein powder and all kinds of different powders, and I'll blend that up just really low just to mix that in. Then I'll usually add in a bunch of berries and an avocado and maybe a packet of stevia or something, and it comes out to this really thick, cold green smoothie that's really like purple because of the blueberries and all that. And oh man, it's so good. And tastes so good. I put chia seeds in there and hemp seeds and any kind of stuff I have. It's been so good. And I do the berries because it's really low sugar, and that's really been helpful for me to go low sugar. Sometimes I'll put a piece of fruit in there, but normally I do that only during the summer months when I have, it's sunny and it's summertime, and I'll have some fruit in that way. So those green smoothies have been so good. I don't know. Do you guys make green smoothies? Do you do that for breakfast? Or do you do like a lunchtime thing or something? I'd be curious to see how you make your green smoothies. Everyone makes them different, and whatever works for certain people. Lately, I've been doing those, and they've been so good. So good. Okay, it's actually time for a commercial break. Golly, time is flying by already. All right, let me run this quick spot, and we'll be right back after this break. It seems like so many people these days have problems with their vision, and they have eye problems like glaucoma or blindness or cataracts, or really need strong prescription glasses. And before you go down that path, I just want to let you know about this really great product about how to improve your eye health and possibly get rid of the need for glasses altogether. And you can do it. It's possible. People have done it. So if you want to learn more about this and watch the video with Angela Stokes Monarch on that page, you can go to extremehealthradio.com/vision, and that will redirect you to a video that Angela did about these pinhole glasses, and she sells them for like $18, but you can also purchase these natural vision health books too, where you can learn about keeping good eye health and how to restore eyesight, and all kinds of really great information about getting rid of your glasses possibly. So before you go getting any surgery or anything, toxic eye drops put in your eyes, if you have macular degeneration or anything like that, I would highly recommend getting these pinhole glasses and doing the exercises as she talks about, reading the book so you learn about what's going on with your eyes and how to take care of your eye health essentially. And she's got all these natural eye care supplements you can take, in natural eye drops, and a lot of these things like MSM eye drops, and all kinds of really great products that I highly recommend. So if you have glasses, or if you want to restore your eye health in any way, I would highly recommend checking out this program and getting these products, because they can really help. So check it out, extremehealthradio.com/vision. And we love what Matt and Angela are doing. We promote their baby product, Conscious Parenting Summit, as well. So if you're interested in the product, go to our store. You can look at it in our store as well. But if you go to extremehealthradio.com/vision, you'll be able to see a video that Angela did and learn more about what she's talking about. So if I had glasses, I would be all over this product, or if I had macular degeneration or anything like that. So yeah, I really stand behind her and her work, and her and Matt's work, and they're really great people doing awesome work. So again, extremehealthradio.com/vision, and let's get back to the show. All right, we are having a good time here on extremehealthradio.com/63 for this free-for-all Friday edition of our show. Hopefully you are doing great today out there in February 2013. And this segment of our show is always going to be designed for, or designated, set apart for the listener questions. So if you ever email me and there's a certain thing that I'll answer, typically I'll do it during the Free for All Friday shows, and I'll do it right around the 20-minute mark. So we'll play the commercial around the 20-minute mark, and then answer your questions. So I got a first email. Let's see, who is this from? Let's see here. Larry Ring, and I've been in contact with him a little bit over email. So he says, hey Justin, glad to hear you're back. And whenever I listen to your podcasts, I critique the speakers by their knowledge base. If they don't have credibility in one respect, their credibility for other items of discussion goes down until I disbelieve everything they say. Your guest on Monday made it quite clear that saltwater pools have no chlorine, and they are therefore, quote, safe. She also stated that her blonde hair turned green due to chlorine. Yuck, you both exclaimed. Just so you know, saltwater pools disinfect with chlorine, just like any other chlorine-based disinfected pool. The only difference is that saltwater pools use salt to manufacture chlorine on the fly, while non-salt pools simply have chlorine added to the pool water. Either way, they both disinfect with chlorine, so she's wrong on that one. The copper levels in pool water causes blonde hair to take on that green tinge, not chlorine, so she's dead wrong again. She made these two statements with such authority that I, knowing full well that they were both completely wrong, could not believe anything else she said. Just thought I'd throw that out to you and give you a quick education on pool disinfection. Keep up the great efforts. Thank you so much, Larry. Larry, that was great. So thank you for sending that in. I did not know any of that. I'm not really an expert on pools, so I wouldn't have had a way to rebut her statements there, but that's okay. Not a problem. We're all learning here, so thanks for pointing that out. I would say, though, that just because someone says something that is not necessarily true in one respect, don't necessarily throw it all out, because she may not be an expert in pools and things like that, but she really does know a lot of things. And Larry's talking about, if you haven't heard it, it's the interview with what's her name, Annie Jubb, and I think that was episode number 61. It was just a couple episodes ago. And Annie Jubb, I've known about her for years. She's great, and she worked with a guy named William Wendling. And he does a lot of work with water, so he set up her pool. So maybe there's something that he's doing. Let me write this down. William Wendling. And I know he's got a company that works with pools and water and stuff, so maybe he did something unique with her. But in any event, if she is wrong, cut her a little bit of grace. Don't necessarily throw the baby out with the bathwater on that one. She's a great person, and so yeah, I really like what she's doing. She had a lot of good stuff to say, and she's a big fan. I don't know if you heard the interview of Life Food and liver cleansing. So if I'm not sure if you guys have ever done a liver cleanse. I have not, and it's in my list of things to do for this time of year and for this time in my life, because my wife and I are doing some cleansing prior to conception for a child, and I want to make sure I have a clean liver. So I'm going to start doing some enemas and some liver gallbladder flushes, as well as I'm going to do the Juva cleanse, and I'm going to do some colonics. And right now I do sweating and I do rebounding and things like that, so as well as green juices every day. So I'm going to start really bumping up the herbal and the intestinal cleanses. So that would be fun, don't you think? Have you ever done liver flushes? She's talked about drinking like 8 ounces of olive oil. Wow, that is quite a lot of olive oil. It seems like I would just gag drinking that. But apparently you're supposed to do it with a really thick, big straw. And what else are you supposed to do? Take some enzymes with it to help break down the fats in your stomach so that the olive oil goes straight to your liver and does what it does, its little magic on your liver. So anyway, so yeah, Larry, thank you for writing in and correcting us both. We all have lots to learn, and none of us are experts in every area. So I appreciate your feedback. And Bill writes in, Justin, thanks for pointing me to the Daniel Vitalis videos. Bill wrote in earlier about the power of vortexing water, and I told him that on our site, under the resources section, we have a link to some videos. I forget what it says on the drop down for that, but on the site it's got a link to some videos, and we have 8 videos of Daniel Vitalis talking about water, which is absolutely amazing. And so check those out on our site if you're interested. And he says, I'm seriously considering a Vitalizer Plus machine. If I get one, it will probably be through Amazon.com, and I will try to go through your site so you get the commissions. I usually buy a few $100s a month, so I hope this will help keep your show going. I would love to hear an interview from someone from that company, Vitalizer Plus. Again, keep up the good work. Thanks, Bill. Bill, thank you so much for considering doing your Amazon purchasing through us. We are so grateful for that. That is just so great. So thank you so much for considering doing that. And I hope you get the Vitalizer Plus. I don't have one myself. My wife and I go out and get spring water from Lake Hemet. That's just a couple hours away. We drive over to Palm Springs, and then we have lunch out there, and then drive back through the mountains and get our spring water there. And I know that spring water, we put it in glass too. when we get the water, we get about, 35 gallons at a time, and then we bring it back. But I know that the spring water is supposed to be structured usually at the source when you get the spring water right out of the ground like that. But I know that that over time it starts to become unstructured. So putting it in a Vitalizer Plus could be a good thing. There's also clay eggs that people get. But the problem with the clay egg is I can't really put it in the refrigerator because they're so big. But I'm writing this down. Clay eggs. Put in the show notes for you. I have a few links to some great clay eggs if you're interested. But yeah, so the clay egg can't really fit in the refrigerator, but it naturally cools the water, which is great, and it's got a breathable surface, so air can get in and then come out of the egg through the clay, and it's really, really a great thing. So it causes the water to remain structured for longer. So, but I don't know, getting a Vitalizer Plus, that might be something to consider. We could take our spring water out of the fridge in a big container, put it in the Vitalizer Plus probably in the morning, and then have it spinning for 9 minutes, and then put it into another glass container to take to work. My wife works at a salon, so she could take that up to the salon and cut hair and drink that water. That might be something to consider. Those things are pretty expensive, though. From what I understand, they're about $500, I think, or $400 or $500. So thank you again, Bill, for writing in, and I hope you got my email and all of that. So, and then I got another email here from Brian, and he responds to my email on our newsletter list about urine therapy. And if you don't know anything about urine therapy, sign up to our newsletter list, and you'll get our emails on urine therapy. They're pretty amazing. And he says, "Thank you for your message. I too heard about urine therapy from David Wolf and have been practicing it for the past month. About 4 ounces a day in the morning, and it's not as gross as I thought it would be. It tastes best when my diet the day before has been vegan. I actually look forward to it." Wow. That's amazing. Can't imagine looking forward to that. It has a slightly more pungent flavor if I consume eggs or meat the day before, but it's still fine for me to drink. Not sure what to make of it yet. We'll continue for now. I love your show. I've listened to every episode. I will listen on the way to work. The guests are fascinating, and thank you so much for asking good questions and being respectful of all your guests. And the variety of guests give it a balance I really appreciate. I'm a busy dad with 4 young children, but wanted to at least email and say thanks for what you do and keep it up. Thanks, Brian. I appreciate that. 4 ounces of urine. Oh, wow. That's you should win some kind of award for that. That's pretty impressive. I wrote a whole blog post about that I think if you go to extremehealthradio.com/urine, URINE, putting this in the show notes, you'll read an article I wrote about urine therapy, and it's got some books listed there as well as some videos. There's one really good documentary about it too. So, man, oh man, 4 ounces in the morning. That's amazing. I usually just do a little tiny bit, and I mix it with apple cider vinegar, and that's enough for me. But yeah, urine therapy is an amazing thing, and I talked about it a little bit with Annie Jubb too, if you're interested in listening to that. I don't know. Have you guys ever tried urine therapy? It's a pretty powerful thing, and you can read the article that I wrote about it, as well as the newsletter series. You can read more about it in there too. But if you sign up to our newsletter, urine therapy is really a powerful thing. It's been used in cultures all over the world, and it's pretty powerful thing. So if you haven't done it, it's a free medicine. There's lots of books written about it. I would highly recommend looking into it so that you can do something free and easy. I mean, it doesn't cost any money, and it's one of the best substances to ingest. So yeah, I would definitely look into that. If you're really, really wanting to take your health to another level, check it out. Definitely look into it. If you go into the article, you can check out a bunch of books that I recommend on that article about urine therapy. So they'll just take you over to Amazon, and you can check those out. So, and then Crystal writes from Melbourne, Australia. "Hi, Justin. Looking forward to more upcoming interviews. Bring them on." She wrote in via Facebook. Thanks, Crystal. I appreciate that. And I hope you and your husband are doing great down there in Melbourne. And next time I go there, maybe next January, I will go down there with Kate, and we can stop by and have a little party have a little raw food dinner or do something like that. That'd be fun. Meet your husband and meet yourself. That'd be great thing to do. I've never been down to Melbourne either, so that would be fun. So I believe that's it for the people writing in. Let's see. Kenny writes in via YouTube, and he says, have you given yourself enemas yet? I know you've had your colon washed out with a good colonic. When you have enemas, the feeling is similar and healthy to have. Kenny, yeah, I have not had the enema yet, and I definitely intend on doing that. So that's definitely something I want to do, is the enemas. I believe that they too are very powerful and can take your health to the next level. So thank you for writing in and asking that. And I'm glad that you all like the show, and hope you're getting a lot of good value out of it as well. So did you guys see, I know we talked about the Annie Jubb interview. That was a really great interview. And we also had Janice Barcelo on, I believe it was Wednesday, episode 62, I think it was. And she is a doula. And that interview, I've said in the notes at the top of the page for the interview, is one of the most powerful interviews that we've ever done. And it was heavy interview. It was a really, really heavy interview, especially coming from a lady like that, and the way she was talking about hospital births and what they do as far as vaccinations and clamping of the umbilical cord. And it's really interesting because she gives a real spiritual kind of side to all of that, and she looks at it from the baby's perspective. And she talks about like the clamping of the umbilical cord, for example, where the baby is forced out, usually through drugs and manipulation from the doctor. And then at that point, when you cut the umbilical cord, it's like, boom, you are on the clock. You are a part of the medical paradigm in the medical industry, and the clock better start breathing. It's time to go. And on a deep spiritual level, she was saying it actually teaches the child that you can't trust your parents to allow you to have your own way and make your way in the world. We are going to do it for you, and we are going to force you, boom, right now to start breathing and to start cooperating by cutting your umbilical cord before you think it's time. And then we take the child off. The mother hands the baby over to the doctor at some point during that day, and the doctor, if it's a boy, circumcises it. And on a deep spiritual level, the baby learns to not trust the mother. And so I'm not sure if any of that is true. I suspect it is. It just seems weird because in our culture, we are just not used to that kind of thing. We're not used to the underpinnings and the very subtle things that happen on a deep spiritual, psychological, emotional level that happens. But I don't know what to make of that. I suspect it's true because we all have issues. And, maybe that has to do with being born in a hospital and going through such a traumatic birth experience. Because I do believe that a lot of our diseases are caused by cellular memory and cellular breakdown, and things that happen to us get stored in our tissues. Like yoga teachers will always say, the issues are in the tissues. So I believe that these things get stored in a cellular way, in an energetic way, in the tissues and cells of our bodies. And so if that's true, I mean, there's no way to prove any of this, but if that's true, then, maybe on a deep psychological, spiritual level, all the stuff that she was saying is true too, that, we learn, not to trust certain people because of our experiences when we're born and all of this stuff. So I don't know, but that interview, Janice Barcelo, was so interesting. Let me just give you a little brief rundown of some of the things that she talked about. She talked about epidurals and why epidurals are so dangerous. And that stuff was really fascinating because the epidural severs the connection that the mother is going to have with the baby. It lowers the hormone levels, and it prevents the mother from feeling that sense of connection and warmth and love towards the baby. And it also prevents the mother from having contractions and control over contractions, because when the baby is trying to be born, it's doing a sacred dance with the mother, and they're working together to be born. And when you have an epidural, it prevents that connection from happening. So the baby has to do all of the work itself from the epidurals, and then she talked about also how the chemicals from the epidural can get into the baby, as well as the dangers of paralyzation from epidurals. Oh man, no wonder why our society has so many crazy issues. I wonder if this is all at the root cause of it. And then she talked about the dangers of C-sections. Man, did you know that according to her, at least, I think about 1 out of every 3, if you go to give birth in a hospital, you have a 33% chance of getting a C-section. And that's because that part of the hospital, they make so much money on C-sections, and they're quick and easy. And doctors love them because they can plan their vacation schedules around them. And, man. And let's see, what else did she talk about? Janice Barcelo, the dangers of sonograms. That was interesting. Ooh, man. Seems like nothing you do is going to be healthy for the baby unless you completely go natural. The clamping of the umbilical cord and the relationship of the placenta to the baby. And lotus birthing. I don't know if you've ever heard about lotus birthing. And let's see, the eye-to-eye contact. You know, when you have a baby, in a hospital, they put that goop in the eyes, and that prevents the baby from connecting with the mother on a soul level, because it can't make eye contact because it's got all this goop in there. Let's see, swaddling. She talked about how swaddling is very damaging to the baby. The vaccines, obviously, the circumcision, vitamin K shots. Man, so if you're interested, that is a powerful interview. And I do apologize for that interview. We didn't have the sound on that interview, so we didn't have a good intro. So I apologize for that. But check that interview out. I think it's extremehealthradio.com/62. So check out that interview if you're really interested in this type of thing. So we got to take a short break. We'll be right back after this break. I do a lot of weightlifting and lifting heavy weights at the gym, and I love it. But there's also another side to working out, which actually helps you increase the energy in your body. As you know, in our culture, just about everything is a stress to our body. It depletes us of life force energy and our energy in general, whether it's, coworkers or getting to work or dealing with difficult family members, things like that. All of these things cause stress and energy depletion in our body. And something like Qigong is a really great way to help cultivate your inner energy, and it's been practiced by people in the East for thousands of years. It's put together by Tristan Truscott and Peter Ragnar. You can find it at extremehealthradio.com/Qigong, which is Qigong, and it's called Good Morning, Good Evening Qigong. And I highly recommend getting this product. It comes as a physical product to your house with really great DVDs and workbooks on how to do this ancient art of cultivating your inner energy and building that core energy of your body. And it's been practiced, like I said, for thousands of years. So I highly, highly recommend checking it out. If nothing else, just go to extremehealthradio.com/Qigong, Qigong, and get on their mailing list, because they'll send you lots of free information as well. So check out Peter Ragnar. He looks amazing for how old he is. He's been doing this for like 60 years or something. It's really an amazing product. So check it out, extremehealthradio.com/Qigong. Okay, there we are again. I keep playing that same music. I keep saying this. It feels like I'm in some kind of Indian club or something. That's cool music, though. I like that. I should add that to my meditation that I do every night. I should do that. That's really good. I love that music. Anyway, thank you for joining us on another edition here of ExtremeHealthRadio.com. And, before the break, I was talking about the epidurals and Janice Barcelo and her whole pregnancy and natural birthing show. And if you're interested in that is at ExtremeHealthRadio.com/62. And I would highly recommend, if you're interested in this kind of stuff, I'd highly recommend checking that out. It's a really fascinating and kind of a heavy show, but it's really good. And, it's funny because I told Kate about it, and she really wants to listen to the show. She hasn't heard it yet. And, she's really scared to give birth and a completely natural. And, I don't blame her because, she wants to have the option at least of getting an epidural or getting, going to a hospital if things go wrong. And, I can't blame her for that because, our culture is it's crazy how much indoctrination they put into little girls all throughout growing up, man. I don't know how many times you see different commercials and different scenes in movies and TV shows where, birth is always looked at as being painful and excruciating and horrible, as well as they always show it in a hospital, and there's always a doctor there to save the day. And it's just sad because this just puts an imprint on the little girls' minds that, I have to go to a doctor. I have to see a doctor and trust a doctor for, the birth of my child. When in reality, we've been giving birth as a species for thousands of years. We've never needed a hospital. We've never needed any of that kind of stuff. And yes, they can help in dire situations and things like that, but relying on them, it's just, it's tough. It's tough to see. And I don't blame her for wanting to have that. I mean, it's a lot of anguish and, going on in her brain about that. And I get it. I totally get it. And, I'm going to support her no matter what happens. Obviously I would love to have our child in, at home in the water and, very natural and loving and things like that. But I'm not going to tell her what to do at the other time, so, if you're interested in the pregnancy courses, go to our store, and we have I think there's in the pregnancy section on the pregnancy tab, we've got like 4 of these courses that I can't tell you enough how amazing these courses are. You have to check them out and get them yourselves and listen to them and watch the videos and read the stuff. But man, talk about something that's turned your life upside down is these courses about how to give birth to, a healthy baby and what to eat and what to feed it when breastfeeding. And man, it's amazing. So check out those courses. Kate and I are actually going through, we have all of them, and we're going to go through, we are in the process of going through all of them every single night. So that's something cool. And yeah, so I can't blame, people for feeling afraid. I mean, if I had to give birth and I was programmed by the media for my entire life, I'd be afraid too, and so I think what it takes to do it at home and do it natural is it takes, just a commitment. It takes, a trusting in what God has given to us. God created our bodies fully with the capabilities of giving birth and, having children, and that's, it's completely natural, and we don't need to put all our trust and faith in doctors to save us. And, I think that, it takes a lot of mental and spiritual trust in God and trust in your body and a real dedication mentally to say, this is the way I'm going to do it, and everything is going to go great, and just being positive and things like that. So that's some of the things that Kate and I are working on right now. And I'm, being supportive any way she decides to go, because in the end, God will bless us with a healthy baby no matter what. So I'm trying to just kind of lay off and let her, take it at her pace, and so I think that's really, really important to do. So a couple other things I want to talk about really quickly too before the show goes away. We've only got 10 more minutes left, but I wanted to talk about these zappers. Have you guys ever had a zapper? We have one we actually have 3 of them. We have 1 Terminator and 2 T-Rex zappers. And the T-Rex zappers we got just a little while ago, and they're little machines, or I'm not sure what you call them, little contraptions that have 2 penny-sized copper circles on them that touch your skin, and they kill parasites. And we've been having some pretty good success. I can't see parasites coming out of me, but I definitely use them a lot. If you're interested in zappers, check out the show we did with Don and Carol Croft, and I will put the link to that show in the show notes here. And you can learn all about zappers and how they work and the technology behind what they do and how they are used for healing and killing parasites and viruses and things like that. So I would definitely check out the Terminator and the T-Rex zappers from, I think it's worldwithoutparasites.com. I think that's Don, is it Don Croft? Don and Carol Croft. Yeah, that's their website. Worldwithoutparasites.com. So you may want to look into that. It's a great little tool to have, just to have on you, and it's easy to wear, and you can just put it in between your belt, on your clothes, and it takes no work to do, and it's really, really great. So I would highly recommend checking some of those out. And then I've been using a product called Vintage Nutrition. Have you heard of this stuff? It's actually a tallow. It's a grass-fed raw tallow that's used for your face, and I believe their website is vintagenutrition.com, and we're going to do a little interview, a little 10-minute piece for our next week, hopefully, show on this product. I think the guy's name is Kenneth, and I've been using that, and it feels so good. It's really, really a great product to put on your face, and it's moisturizing, and it's 100% grass-fed raw tallow that comes from happy cows, along with some other essential oils and things. And man, it's really, really good. I've been loving it. Usually what I do is I put it on in the morning after I sleep. Get up and put it on, slather that stuff all over my face. Gives you a nice glow. It's, oh man, I feel like I'm a metrosexual or something like that, putting all this stuff on my face. But no, it's really cool. It's good stuff, and women will love it. My wife loves hers. We have, I think, like four 2-ounce containers, and you just put a tiny, tiny bit on. So a 1 2-ounce container will last you like probably 6 months. So it's pretty cool stuff. I would highly recommend checking that out, vintagenutrition.com. And then I wanted to tell you also that we're considering making the show live through Ustream. It wouldn't be a video, it would just be an audio-only feed, but that's something that we're considering doing. And so far we're testing it out. We're trying to see if it's possible to do. We do have an account with Ustream, and you can see it at extremehealthradio.com/live. And most of our shows, as you know, take place at 9 a.m. Pacific time for an hour on, let's see, right now they're Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but most weekdays at 9 a.m. you can catch us. But we haven't turned it on yet because we're still testing it out and trying to see if it'll work. But the problem with that is that if you upgrade, I think that we do too many shows to make it worthwhile, or make it acceptable, or what's the right word, doable to have on their free plan. So they offer a free plan, a paid plan, and it goes on up like that. So the paid plan, and then you can get like a gold, platinum or something. But I think the first level up is like $99 a month. So I don't know. I'm not really sure if we want to pay that much money, to have live. I'm not really sure how beneficial it is, because most people, I think, just listen to the podcast, right? Is that what you do? Do you just download it from iTunes and then put it on your iPod, or do you download it from the website? I'd be really curious to see what your thoughts are about the live show and how you listen to the show. I think a lot of people actually listen on the computer too. I don't know, but if I could poll every one of the listeners and understand how you guys listen, that might make it easier for me to make a determination about whether or not doing a live show would be helpful. But actually, it would be really cool. I would love to do a live show where we could take phone calls. That would be really fun. So in the future, as we continue to grow and we get more donations and we can purchase more equipment, perhaps we'll do that. We'll set up a whole phone system and allow you guys to call in and ask us questions and listen live, and that would be really cool, because we started this on the cheap, really. We got really, really good sound equipment and good sound and good software and all of that, but we started it cheap in terms of, like, we use Skype to do our calls now, and we don't have a phone system and stuff like that. So as time goes on and we're able to afford it, we'll buy some more equipment and hopefully that would be really cool to do a show live and have you guys be able to listen to it and call in. And I really want to make that connection with you. I want to talk with you guys and connect with you and all of that stuff. So I think doing a live show, I think it could be good. If you have any questions or opinions about that, please let me know. Just send me an email, and I'd love to hear what you think about that, because I produce these shows out of our palatial studio here, and it's tough to know what all of you all are thinking and how you listen to the shows and all that. So I would be very appreciative if you would call in or write me and let me know how you listen, and whether or not you would like to have a live show or not. I think it'd be kind of cool, wouldn't it, to have a live show? Yeah, let's work on it. Let's work on it for 2013. I want to read to you this quote by Dr. Edward Group, and he's going to be on our show. He runs the Global Healing Center, and he's a cutting-edge nutritionist. Really interesting guy, so it's going to be interesting to talk with him. But he had a quote. It says, "By cleansing your body on a regular basis and eliminating as many toxins as possible from your environment, your body can begin to heal itself, prevent disease, and become stronger and more resilient than you ever dreamed possible." Isn't that awesome? It's really cool. The trick, though, is doing the cleansing is pretty easy. You can do some good cleansing. Like right now, I take a Zeolite product that I really, really like. If you're interested in that, it's extremehealthradio.com/zeolite. That's ZEOLITE. And that's a product that my wife and I are on. That's a good way to cleanse at the cellular level. Zeolite. Let me put that in the show notes. And, doing colonics and enemas, and, you can do all the cleansing stuff. But the trick is to eliminating the toxins that you're exposed to from your environment. That is a tricky thing, because a lot of you guys and me and people might live in places that have carpets that were there before they moved in or before you moved in, and places that have been painted prior to you moving in. So there's all kinds of toxins and chemicals that you're exposed to just by being inside your house. So what would be a good thing to do is to get an air purifier. When we were on with Doris Rapp, she talked about the Austin Air, and we do a commercial for. That would actually be a good idea for you if you're interested in getting cleaner air. It's extremehealthradio.com/Austin, AUSTIN. And that has some Austin air purifiers. But, it's really awesome when you realize that you can heal your body. And he says your body can begin to heal itself, prevent disease, and become stronger and more resilient than you ever dreamed possible. That is so cool. It's so good that there's hope out there, isn't there? It's so good to know that you can find healing and hope and things like that from our toxic world. It's so great. Man, in today's world, it's funny, like if this were in the 60s, we wouldn't even know half of what we're doing is toxic to begin with, let alone being able to test for it and to get measurable results and figure out how much heavy metals you're being exposed to, and then taking a product like a Zeolite and getting rid of that. And then retesting, and it's just awesome. I realize that in today's world, we are bombarded and exposed to so many things, but at the same time, it would really be less than excellent if we were exposed to all of these things, but had no way to deal with them. So we're exposed to all these extra chemicals and toxins and poisons, but there were no things like Austin air purifiers or zeolites or the Ejuva cleanse that we have on our website, or getting a colonic or doing an enema. It's just so cool that we understand how to fix the body these days. I just think that's so cool. It's like, isn't that book where Charles Dickens said it was the best of times and it was the worst of times? I feel like that, where the best food is out there and the worst food is out there. You can go out and get, McDonald's hamburgers and genetically modified fish and salmon that's been, genetically altered, and they don't have to tell you about it. And there's chemicals coming out from every, place where you live and where you work and all this stuff. But then there's products like Zeolite and Ejuva cleanses and colonics and rebounding and sweating and all of these different things. So it's really cool. I don't know. It's really cool. It's good to be grateful and to be appreciative and mindful of all the things that God has blessed us with in today's world. So I want to thank you for joining me on this show, and I hope that you learned a lot and are enjoying what we're doing here and having a great day and doing the best you can and not beating yourself up for not doing more, and just being at peace and at harmony with your life, and growing up in your connection with God, and all of that. So that's what health is really all about, is really being of service to others and growing in our spiritual connection with God and all of that. So I hope that you enjoyed this show. My wife is going to come home in about 5 minutes, and we're going to go for a big, long beach walk on the beach. That should be a lot of fun. So yeah, it's going to be a really great day. We're going to go out there and enjoy the sun, get some vitamin D on our bodies, and really get on the beach and get some sun in this February day. So thank you again for joining us. We really, really appreciate it. And again, thank you for all your support. And if you want to join us in our community on Facebook, that would be really cool. We'd love to have you join and interact with myself on Facebook, and in the future my wife too. You can check that out at extremehealthradio.com/Facebook. And I want to thank you too to everyone who's been donating recently. I can't thank you enough. That is so great, and we're so excited to be doing this show. And it's such an honor that you would donate to our show and just want to support our work. So we thank you so much for that. And thank you for those of you who have purchased from Amazon through us. I can't tell you how much that has been a blessing to us by you guys supporting us in that way. And to the people who have joined our mailing list, we thank you for that. We have hundreds of subscribers on there, and that's really a growing thing too. So thank you for joining us there. And if you'd like to check out our store, I think we have over about 75 products. They're all, picked by me, handpicked, and there's lots of great stuff. So, if you're ever in the market for a Vitamix or Excalibur dehydrator or a rebounder or a sauna or anything like that, a good Ejuva cleanse, check out our store. We got tons of great stuff. So really, really appreciative of you guys, and keep sending me your emails. I'd love to connect with you and help you in any way. I do try to get back. I do get back to everybody. It just takes me time. So please bear with me. As you know, I'm doing this as a side project for now. So I do get back to everyone. It just takes time. So, but I love to connect with you and hear about what's going on in your life. So, yeah, thank you for joining us. I hope you have a great day, whatever you are going to do the rest of today, whether you're on a walk or you're going to go spend some time at work or with your wife or husband or whatever. Hope you have a great day. So thanks for joining us. If there's ever anything I could do to help you out, please let me know. I'm always here. Justin at extremehealthradio.com. And